My name's Gail Merriam, and I've lived in Somerville for over 25 years. And I wanted to get more involved in things at the local level.
Hi, I'm Peter Beluvi, and I've lived in Somerville for 13 years.
My name is Kimberly Pitts. I'm a retired educator. I run an educational consulting firm. I have for the last 30 years. I was a former school principal.
My name's Marian Wallace. I'm a lifelong resident of Somerville.
My name is Rachel Engerhofer, and I'm the Director of Domestic Violence Prevention Programs at Respond. Respond is a domestic violence prevention organization that's been in existence for 50 years.
I'm Taylor Perkins, and I've lived in Somerville for 3 years in Winter Hill. My most important title is Dad. I'm raising my 2-year-old daughter here in Somerville, and really what drew me to the task force was thinking about Somerville and thinking about the broader world and all of the challenges that we face right now. Somerville is a great place to live. It's a diverse community, and it's a community that really values its residents. So really what drew me to this task force was recognizing that I wanted to do more work in my backyard, and I wanted to help Somerville stay a place where my daughter wants to raise her family someday.
I'm the Director of Domestic Violence Prevention Programs at Respond. Respond is a domestic violence prevention organization that's been in existence for 50 years. We started in Somerville with a small group of 4 women who were really committed to ending violence in their community, and would start by turning porch lights on in their homes to signal to the community that they were a safe place to go if people were in need of safety. When I heard that the city of Somerville was putting together a team of folks really committed to ending violence in all forms in the city, I was on board and really excited to be invited to be a part of it. So one of the things that I thought the working group did really well was the team from RSJ really started us off by presenting us with information and data that was collected from the city over a period of time related to incidents of violence that took place, the different types of violence. We certainly know that violence, all types of violence is really underreported, but specifically in the area of domestic violence. But even knowing that, it was still helpful to know what was available in terms of the data that was collected, so that as a team, we were starting from a place of all having that same information to start from. I thought that was really helpful.
I think one of the most important parts was that the task force was made of a combination of both residents like myself, as well as RSJ, and then some people with who are involved more officially with the city of Somerville. And I think the collaboration and the exchange of ideas really was the foundation for this process.
I also thought the compilation of the team was really helpful because it was a range of professionals that worked in the city, a range of professionals from different aspects and different types of work related to safety and violence, as well as residents, employees of the city. It was a really nice variety of perspectives that helps the team come together.
We really listened as well as challenged, and really were able to sort of pull apart some of the things that we've been asked to look at and really do a deeper dive. But that really only came about through some very candid conversations.
We met with professionals in this field across the nation. We had people from Durham, Hartford. We had people we got input from Oregon, Portland, Oregon. We got input we met with a lot of people. And all of what we did to make and to create these recommendations, we went out to the public. We held public meetings. There were public, in the Midway, there were a few public meetings where the city and constituents were able to come in and voice their opinions. So quite a bit of work went into this. When I signed up, they said a specific amount, but no. In order to create the safety that you guys, we all well deserve here in Somerville, it took a lot of work from the task force.
Yeah, I think first and foremost was the reason for doing this is that Somerville residents, when asked through various polls and things like that, were shown overwhelming support of a civilian oversight committee for the police force. I think it was something like 80% of Somerville residents were in favor of this. I guess they've been working towards it for 2 decades from the reports that we read, so it's been kind of a long time coming. Secondly, I think is a way to give agency to members of the community, to know that there's a body that's been appointed through various, through 3 from the mayor and I think 6 from the city council, that are going to be overseeing any kind of investigations in police conduct. That it's not going to be the same kind of club of the police force's internal organization or even some of the other statewide organizations. That this is residents from this community that are appointed are going to be overseeing this committee. Again, it's a sense of agency. I think it also gives people a sense of a little bit of extra trust in the police force, and that anything kind of complaints or whatever or misconduct is going to be reviewed in a fair and equitable manner.
I think one of the top takeaways is that this is a complicated and multifaceted issue. And I think that's reflected in our recommendations. So it's not just automatically hiring mental health clinicians to go out with police. It's also understanding some of what goes on for the police, around whether it's civil service issues, training, body cams. And so I think that's one real takeaway. I think for me, the other real takeaway is that our city is not unique in facing the levels of complex trauma. And complex trauma, as well as the racism and the other issues that go on despite our best efforts. So I think, while I feel really good about the recommendations and I'm really excited to see them implemented, I think there needs to be ongoing dialogue.
One thing that I really felt stood out was the need for collaboration, the need for collaborating with other stakeholders in the community, as well as listening to members of the community to really understand what their experience is from their own personal experiences, but then to be able to come at those concerns from a multidisciplinary way that really comes from finding solutions right in the community. Another takeaway that I thought was a consistent theme of our discussions as we created different goals was the need for communication. I think what we found was there was actually a lot of already existing great work happening within the city, and through having our conversations and trainings and bringing stakeholders to the table, many of us learned about things that we didn't even know about that would be relevant for people that we're serving and other community members that were a part of the team.
I think our main takeaway should be that people spent a lot of time trying to be thoughtful about everybody's opinions and how the SMART goals would impact other community members and other residents of the city.
My greatest takeaway after 2 years, countless hours talking to numerous community members, experts, surveying communities really across the country, is that Somerville is already a leader in ensuring public safety for all. Nonetheless, that doesn't mean we don't have a tremendous amount of work left to do in our community to continue that momentum.
I was on the Community Engagement Subcommittee, and one of our primary tasks was to try to solicit input and feedback from the broader Somerville community. And one of the key parts of that was holding a community workshop that was built-in listening sessions. There was a lot of work that went into that. I think our staff did a lot of work. We did a lot of work. And once we were there to facilitate discussions. And I thought that was really rich. I kind of almost wish we had a chance to do another one of those, but time was of the essence.
Like I said, we did that through various number of community outreach things. Most of it was online based, just for accessibility purposes. We did have a couple of in-person meetings that I thought were beneficial. I just think people are a little more willing to engage in an in-person thing. They'll have a kind of a back and forth, more willing to speak up. Whereas a lot of the online ones, we had people that would speak up. There's tend to be some of the same people, but we did have a lot of action in the chats too, people more comfortable typing it out. So there's definitely a, I guess, benefit to doing it both ways, because that we're able to get the most amount of people, reach out to the most people, and also get the most people we can get. Yeah.
Awesome.
And so the other part that we were involved with when we looked at the recommendations was, okay, we want to make sure that there's fewer barriers to people understanding the recommendations and what they mean. So immediately looking at acronyms and terminology so that everyday folks who are living in my neighborhood or any of the other neighborhoods would say, oh yeah, no, I get that. That makes sense.
I served as one of the 2 co-chairs of the drafting subcommittee, and it was my honor to serve alongside Professor Ben Stroll from the University of Pennsylvania as my co-chair. We really saw ourselves as the shepherds and protectors of the mission of the task force, really ensuring that all of the work that we did, whether it was constituent outreach, whether it was data-driven research, harkened back and served the mission of ensuring that what we're doing is focused on public safety for all in Somerville.
I just really learned a lot and felt that, again, the collaborative group process was really critical to doing the most thoughtful, intentional job we could do.
So, I mean, obviously for me, domestic violence is at the core of why I was here to participate. So things that really stood out as having a direct impact on ending and preventing domestic violence was of key importance to me, but all of it was really important and impactful. I would say a couple of standouts was the youth panel. I loved hearing about the work that was already being done in the city to serve youth.
For me, the most impactful meetings and trainings were the trauma training, the meeting with the youth panel, and the meeting with the Black response. Those were the most impactful because it really gave other people's perspective in a different way, and the data that was presented, because it really showed that there were key areas, wards within the city that were truly impacted in the 3 areas that we had looked at pedestrian violence, gun violence, and domestic violence.
We brought together a diverse group of constituents, everyone from average community members to state representatives to city councilors to academic experts, really drawn nationally. And it was great to be able to have that diverse perspective and to be able to make decisions that were both informed by data, but then also informed by the particularities of our community in Somerville.
I guess everybody's commitment to the idea, also just the quality of research and the resources they were provided with to make sure that they were looking at like the best practices and what had worked in other places, use that in conjunction with the input from the community, and just to kind of see the whole thing come together, even down to the documents at the end, the drafting team, and the way it's written in like such a clear, concise, and like understandable way, especially knowing where it was at some points, and like just a jumble of ideas that throw to see the final document afterwards. To just the whole process from start to finish has been impactful, as well as the information, the trainings, and the community outreach, and everything else we're going to do along the way.
Public safety, again, is more than just the police department. It's all encompassing, and I feel that we got a wonderful opportunity as a task force to be able to learn how our city runs and functions.
Public safety work is easy to get lost in the data. It's easy to get lost in the noise, but it's really about people, and it's really about people helping other people to be safe and comfortable in communities. And while we have a lot of work to do to continue that progress, it also was great to see one of those interactions happen in our community.